Earthtones, 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 Earthtones. I think that's what they're chanting. Possibly. They could be chanting, you got your music back, got your music back, because we actually had our, we know had no effects last week. Nary, not a one, none. Woo, I feel like I'm clipping, but I'm probably not. Woo. How is everybody doing?
We got Eric Gale back on YouTube.
Right on. That's what I want to see. And I just want everyone to know how happy we are to be here yet again on Earthtones Live. It deserves golf applause. Sorry for looking at my phone while I'm doing this, but that's all part of the thing. I kind of have to look at it because I don't know what's going on. Thank you, John Dawson. That music is quite funky fresh, isn't it? I think it kind of is. And I wrote it all by myself and literally was sitting all by myself. We want to thank everybody for tuning in this week to Earthtones Live. I'm going to try to keep it, I always say I'm going to try to keep it short and succinct. And 2 hours later, here we are. Feel free to share this around on all your social media pages if you're watching it right now. Feel free to share it to your pages. That way people can just drop right on into the chat and ask us all kinds of questions. And speaking of that, any questions that anyone else has about studio stuff, about what we've been doing this week. I always say we. There's a lot of us around. Mainly it's me and my interns, and Abraham and I do the show. Abraham's not here working because he's in school. But he comes over after school and we do the live stream on Wednesdays. Anyway, welcome to Earthtones live from Earthtones Recording Studio. We do this, try to do it every week. Go ahead and put a disclaimer out there that we may not be doing it next week, but if we do it next week, it will be from a remote location. There may not be any of this stuff, be from a remote location, and it may be with my iPad, and it may be with guitars with 2 little Line 6 practice amps, and we may have 3 other guys running around in the background doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Maybe we'll have you guys be a house band next week.
That'd be good.
And I can do it, y'all can just be in the background. That. Yeah, that'd be good. So maybe we can do it. Might have to do it on my iPad next week, but anyway, so thanks to you guys for tuning in. Here we are yet again at Earthtones Live, and I really appreciate you guys watching. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. So this week we did, what did I do this week? Let me look at my calendar right quick and I'll tell you what I did this week since last week. Since last week I did, I had a fine young man named Dylan, what's Dylan's last name? Come in on Thursday night, and he had a great session, had a great band with him, and they cut 2 tunes in a 4-hour session. So they came in, set up, they used their drums. I think they used their whole drum kit, and then came in and had bass and guitar, possibly keys. Yeah. They had acoustic guitar, electric guitar, keys. Came in and tracked 2 tunes and overdub vocals to them in 4 hours. So that was pretty good. They came through and went through, we got the whole thing set up, got everything tracked out. What's up, Gail? So anyway, so I had that band on, that was Thursday night, I think. Yeah, that was a late one. That was a 6 to 10er. And then Monday, I had quite an interesting session. If nobody's aware, we do home studio consulting, meaning that if you bought all the gear and the company sold you on all the stuff, which that's what they're there for, man. They're there to sell you on all the stuff. Hey, Rick Earl, the master of the ribbon mic. What's happening, man? So, we might actually talk about some ribbon mics here in a minute because Rick Earl is on the broadcast. Rick Earl has more ribbon mics than I do. That could be a challenge. I could take that as throwing down the gauntlet. Because if you ever have more ribbon mics than Rick Earl, then you've probably had to second mortgage your house, because they're expensive, but they're fine microphones. Back to it. So, speaking of something the complete opposite of ribbon mics, Monday, I had a session Monday morning as a consulting session. And a lot of times people will buy recording gear, and then they'll find me via Google, about consulting. And sorry, let me slide my stool up so I don't feel like craning my neck over to this ribbon mic. They'll call me about the consulting because they buy it all and then they get it out of the box, or they attempt to hook it up and they kind of don't know. They see all the stuff that it'll do, but then they don't really know what to do. So they call or email me and they say, hey, can you help us out? What's your rate? And then I'll go to their house or to their studio. Sometimes it's a practice room that they have a studio set up in, a rehearsal room or something like that. Make sure they got all the right stuff, get them all kind of going in the right, direction. And so Monday was one of those days, and the email I got was from a company called Podcast Nation. And Podcast Nation contacted me and said, we have a client. Most of the time when a third-party company contacts you and they have a client, that client is either famous or wants to be famous. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They're either famous or they're on their way to being famous. So they have a third-party company contact. And sometimes they're not, man. A third-party company will contact me and I'll just set something up and be like, oh, I don't even know this person. And then I look at them and they're just a guy. So this was for a podcast, and it was for a girl named Whitney. And she has a show called My Big Fat Fabulous Life on TLC, which has been around for a while. And so Whitney is going to start a brand new podcast called, let me get this right, called Single, Fat, and Crazy. I think that's what it's called. I don't want to get any of those words wrong as if I'm labeling someone, but that's what the podcast is called, Single, Fat, and Crazy. So they're going to be doing a video aspect, a lot like we do here, video cameras, audio, and recording the audio portion of the podcast so you can listen to it on Spotify. All the people who watch her show on TLC will follow it, and all that stuff. So I went to her house, and in the garage is great. It's like a dance studio kind of thing, and they do like these fitness apps and stuff like that. So I got there, and of course the TLC camera crew was there, and I did not want to be on any kind of TV show. I wasn't even dressed for it, I didn't even have a chance to spruce myself up for TV. But they had been shooting all morning and were done by the time I got there. So they had been shooting for the show. So most of these shows will shoot 6 months, and then they'll air 6 months. So I think they're shooting now from February to, February to July, maybe, something like that, July, August. And then I guess 6 months would be February, October, but I don't think so. I think they shoot and then they either broadcast. I guess they edit and broadcast in the fall, like news season in the fall. So anyway, so that was interesting. And hey, John Dawson, I do see you watching, man. So that was an interesting appointment. I got all that stuff hooked up. They bought some great cameras. They had all the gear waiting on me there. And then we'll go through and we'll hook everything, I'll hook everything up and make sure that make sure that everything works right, and make them a list of stuff that they need to buy to fill in, So always be careful, because when you buy your cameras, sometimes they don't come with lenses, kids. And we had two probably $2,000 cameras with no lenses, which makes them worth $0 when they have no lenses on them. So we had to order some lenses. That's a mistake. Anybody can make that mistake if you don't, if you're not in the camera world, you don't know what you're looking for. So that was a fun appointment. And then later on that day, I had a gentleman named Scott Orr that came in, and he recorded, "Hey, Graham Murphy, we were just talking about you, saying that we all need to get together ASAP and catch you up on life and all that stuff, and we will." So anyway, so then I had a session in this week with a gentleman named Scott Orr. Came in and recorded some stuff. He had bought the Christmas special 2 years ago. Graham said he digs the Maple Leafs jersey. So anyway, if if you ever buy our holiday special, we run a holiday special. I've done it every year, and I swear, most years I'm like, not doing it again this year, and then I do, and people buy. It's a discounted kind of thing. And I find that a lot of companies run sales, and I buy pedals when they're on sale. People are just like, 20% off, go put the code in. And I'll do that. And then I find that I buy plugins when they're on sale. And all kinds of stuff when it's on sale. So I always thought to myself, I'm in a recording studio, why can't I put stuff on sale? If I go to Walmart and I want to buy a gallon of milk, and there's 5 different gallons of milk, and one is $6 and the other one's on sale for $2, I'm gonna buy the $2 milk. So that's kind of how I run that special. Is we discount time. People buy it as presents. People buy it for themselves. So he cashed in his in from 2 years ago. Those back then were good forever. The ones this year are only good for this year, because that's just the way I have to do it. I'm getting kind of backlogged on that stuff. And anyway. So, how's everybody else doing? What have y'all been doing this week, this lovely week where the weather has changed 50 times? I think it was, 40, 50 degrees one night. It's 83, a couple of days. So, anyway, so that is pretty much what we've been doing in the studio. If anybody has any questions about any of that stuff, or has any questions for us in general, drop them in the chat. And let us know what is going on in your worlds. Has anybody got any new recording gear? Anybody got any new guitar gear since the last time we were here? I don't think Abraham's got any new. Is that the pedal? Mm-mm. That's not even the pedal? You got the boost on? It's clipping somewhere.
Somewhere.
Huh. Is it the game? Anyway, so, again, welcome, Earthtones Live. So, I think that was about the shortest
I was just about to say
intro that I've done. We're only like 15 minutes in, and I'm ready to play some guitar pedals. Woo! So, did we do anything else interesting this week?
I feel like we're forgetting something.
We went to the beach and had a great weekend with our family. It was awesome. My wife and my oldest son were there. It was killer, and a little bit of away time from this. And Terry Von Cannon says, tried to call today, was going to run that Expandora pedal over, but did not hook up. Oh, dang it, Terry. I missed your call. I was at my mama's house. And I got a call from Terry B. And I'm sorry I didn't call you on the way back, man. We had some other stuff going on, and I didn't get a chance to answer your call. Dang it. You could always run that Expandora pedal by now and drop it off to my intern. I'd gladly hook it on up. But that's okay. So, the Big Sonic Expandora, if nobody knows, a little chrome pedal about that, been around from mid-90s. And it has these things. If we can get the top-down camera on this pedal that I have here, it has these things in the back of it. This looks like a row of white. Looks like a row of white right there, but they're these little teeny tiny things called dip switches. And the dip switches, you flip them, you flip them different directions, flip the switches different directions, and then it does different things. So, the Expandora, the Big Sonic Expandora actually has really cool dip switches on the back of it that will have different kinds of tones. Man, the guitar sounds good. So that's not really going through anything except my Softek. Abraham, what have you done this week?
Oh man.
Anything? Did you do anything?
Probably too much.
Probably too much.
That's what I'd say.
All right.
Let's see. Tomorrow's going to be the day.
Tomorrow's the day?
Tomorrow's going to be the big day.
What's the big day? Talk to me.
There's lots of things going on at school tomorrow.
At school?
Yeah, I'll be performing. It'll be during school.
All right.
And then there's things after school. Just a lot. There'll be a few things tomorrow, but
Okay.
we'll see.
All right. I got you. But I mean, you say performing. What are you performing? What are you doing?
God, I'm trying to think. I know I'm going to be in 2 separate acts, but
2 separate acts.
yeah.
Like?
One of them is an original that somebody else wrote, and I'm just part of the backing band.
Was an original song?
So we actually recorded in your studio.
Oh, okay.
You know the one, probably. But, oh, God, what's the other one? Oh, we're doing the gospel song.
Okay. And what other songs are you doing? Is that where you're doing the Billy Joel thing?
No, that's later in the year.
And that's at Weaver?
Yeah, that's during school.
That's during school.
Yeah.
So sorry guys, no public performances of that tomorrow, where you can go see Abraham play guitar. That would be awesome. Trying to think what else I worked on this week. Oh, I know what I did. This new record that we have called Spirit of Hamlet. I've talked about it about 100 million times so far on this live stream. But I did I finished a new video for it today, as a matter of fact, and it is for the song entitled "Sardine Money." It's quite a love song. It's actually it's a ballady kind of love song. Should have released it on Valentine's Day, but I didn't. But it's called "Sardine Money," and there's a brand new video that I finished for that song. I have not even shown it to the guys in the band. Abraham has seen it, my interns have seen it, just because we just finished it. So, and it's pretty cool. So hopefully, if we don't get a chance to do anything next week, or we do, I'll premiere that video maybe in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll premiere it here in 2 weeks. Or see if we have, any kind of interest from anybody else for maybe premiering it, and we'll go from there. So, that is about all I got this week. It was kind of a slack week. It hasn't been slack by any means. I've been mixing. Hey, Wayne Jarrett. Woo. I gotta get you to paint me. I might get you to paint me a guitar. I think Abraham's got one he wants you to paint. Do you?
Do I?
No?
We're considering that.
Oh yeah, we thought about buying another Charvel that we'd seen at the Guitar Center, and kind of getting them down on the price and seeing if you might paint that. I bet that is something that you can do. And Wayne Jarrett still needs to paint this. We bought an old beat up surfboard, and we're going to do it as a sign for our house to get him to paint it. Nobody knows Wayne. Jump into the chat and just pat him on the back, because that cat paints some guitars, and he painted a guitar for me in 1988, which I still have. True. Abraham's not playing that one tonight, but I will say tonight we are playing. I'm playing my Warren DeMartini snakeskin guitar. It's right there, and it looks like snakeskin, but it's paint. And his was real snakeskin that they modeled this after, and this is an incredible.
Made by Performance Guitars.
Oh yeah, the original one. Yeah, the original one was covered in snakeskin by Performance Guitars in Hollywood, California, where we were lucky enough to visit. I was lucky enough to visit this past summer, and that was pretty cool.
And we met.
And we met the OG from Performance Guitars. They made
made all of his guitars.
They also made the very first Steve Vai Gems. And what does this say? Read and reply to messages. I just can't. I can only see one feed over here. So
I'm keeping it on.
You got it. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we went to Performance Guitars this past July. If you don't know about Performance Guitars, just Google them. You should drop that in the drop that link in the chat.
I don't even know if they have a website.
Yeah, they do. Their website is really cool. It's kind of like the store. It's kind of archaic. In a good way. Like, you look at their website, they're almost like the Analog Man website. If anybody knows Analog Man pedals, the Performance Guitars guys actually made, you see what I'm talking about?
Right.
Oh, and there's a snakeskin right there on the front. Yep, right there on the front, covered in the real snakeskin. So, Steve Vai's guitars, which I'm a massive fan of Mr. Steve Vai, his early guitars, a lot of those were made at a little shop in Hollywood called Performance Guitars by, tell me his name. Can you see his name?
I want to say Kenny.
His name is Kenny. His name is definitely Kenny. And, yep. And if you're literally walking down the street in Hollywood and it says performance guitars, and you go and there's just this big door, it doesn't have a window in it, there's no windows in the shop, and it's got a big thing on it, and you got to ring the doorbell.
Well, and there was a sign on the door that said appointment only.
Right.
And
I was like, yeah, appointment only. And the first thing I thought is, well, we drove all the way across the United States. The least I can do is ring the doorbell, right? Least he can do is say no. Least he can do is say, do you have an appointment? And I say no. And he goes, see you later. So I rang the doorbell, and he came to the door. Super cool guy, looked like Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid, like old school, and was the nicest cat in the world. Invited us in and told us all about the performance stuff. And I just told him, I said, we're I know your shop. We just went to the Steve Vai Guitar Camp thing, and I know your guitars. I've watched your guitars over the years. And once you tell somebody like that, and especially if they're older, he was older. He was much older than me, like OG old, right? But once you tell an older guy something like that, and they understand that you're there because you have a passion for that thing, they'll stop and they'll talk to you about stuff. So this is really cool because he goes about showing us all these incredible guitars that he's made over the years. And if he didn't have the guitars, there was pictures. The inside of the walls of this little shop, little custom guitar shop, it was like a history book, of every rock and roll guitar player you could imagine, And so
there was photos we had never seen before.
Photos we had never seen. There was a photo of Billy Sheehan and Steve Vai in front of one of their cars, just out in the parking lot.
Oh, and there was
with the guitar. And I was like, hey, that's from 1986. Like
the first time he ever went in the shop, and he was like 19.
Oh, yes. Yeah, like old pictures. And the pictures were old. They were literally printed pictures just taped to the wall, not in frames. And it was really, really cool. So, Abraham, did you drop that in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's in the YouTube chat, and it's in one of the Facebook chats. I'm not exactly sure which one, guys. It probably goes in the Earthtones one. So, if you're on the Esteemed Colleagues group, you may not see that. But if you go over to YouTube and just take a look at that, the chat, the link is in the chat there. And it's the... like I say, it's just called Performance Guitars. They still make incredible guitars today. He said, follow me. And he takes us back in this area where you could see two other guys that were just like side-eyeing us, Not that they weren't nice. They were just like, what are these guys doing in here? And
they were building
They were building guitars. They were working, man. So he took us back into the back, and he said, I'll show you. And he took us back there, and he showed us all the machinery that he hand cuts all the necks. He doesn't source out any parts. I mean, he sources out parts like, bridges and stuff, but he builds all the bodies and he cuts all the necks himself, and showed us the machines that he had made that have the fret slot saws on them, like individual little blades that he just that turn that he just like drops down like you would a miter box saw, but they have all the blades are perfectly calibrated, and they just go into the fretboard and cut the slots. Was so cool to take us back there and show us all this old machinery, this handmade machinery that he had to make himself to be able to make these guitars. And I was like, it was like a history lesson. It was so cool. Anyway, Performance Guitars made the very first one of these that this is fashioned after. Didn't make this guitar. This is a Charvel guitar. Anyway, long story even longer. What guitar are you playing tonight, Abraham Johnson?
I'm playing, the Music Man, Luke 3?
Mm-hmm.
Steve Lukather signature guitar. What is this color? What do we call it? What do you call it?
It's called like Ocean Sparkle, I think is what Music Man calls it. What some of my clients called it when they came in is they called it my bass boat guitar, because if you'll hold it up now that I've said that, it looks quite like a bass boat. If you ever seen a bass boat out on the lake, or something ready to do a little fishing, catch a couple of stump wrappers. That's what my dad used to call them, stump wrappers. That was a big bass, not the mid-size, stump wrappers. So anyway, yeah, get out in your bass boat, get a guitar like this to match it. That would be great. Play a little guitar on the lake, fish a little bit. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Nothing. Man, it makes me want to go fishing. Somebody say something in the YouTube?
Eric Gale said, as a guitar builder myself, that would be an awesome tour to take. Yeah,
It would be, I'm telling you, Eric,
Yeah.
incredible, man. Like, it was incredible. And he was just so cool. I think there's got to be a picture. There's got to be a picture somewhere. I know there's probably a picture. I could find it in my iPhone, not iPhoto. What is it called? iCloud. iPhoto. Is that even a thing? Do they even make iPhoto anymore? It's just called Photos.
Anymore.
Nothing's even Nothing's anything except the phone. Is it even an iPhone anymore?
iTunes? Do they still?
I think it's Apple Music. Is the iPhone still called the iPhone? Can anybody tell me that?
Aiden says he remembers iPhoto. I don't remember iPhoto. That must have been
Aiden remembers iPhoto?
Must have been before my time.
So that was on the iMac, right? So everything had the small I in front of it. What's Eric saying?
I already read that. I'm keeping up. You're behind. I'm keeping up. You're
The
behind.
bottom one?
Uh-huh. I'm keeping up.
Oh, sorry.
You're behind.
Sorry.
Wait a minute. What'd you call me?
You big dummy.
I'm not a big dummy. I'm big. I'm just not a dummy. I'm kind of a dummy though. Hold on.
Hello, Lamont, you big ugly dummy.
Hey, Mal, why do you call him on, dummy? Hold on.
Give me his guitar, dummy.
That's right. Give me my guitar, dummy. Oh, I'm sorry. That makes me laugh. Can I hear that one again?
Give me his guitar, dummy.
Give him his guitar. His guitar, and that's why I call these guitars when I have them up. I'm not making fun of people who actually call them guitars. I'm just talking like Fred Sanford because, you know, it's Wednesday night and I can act stupid on our own show, right? On our own live stream. Is it even called a show? So, yeah, the performance guy, guitar guy was pretty cool. Check out the website that Abraham dropped in the chat, and it's very, very cool. Historical stuff, and guitars are worth, if you even look them up, you know, if you try to find them online, they're pretty expensive, even the used ones. But the new ones, I mean, compared to brand new ones that you're getting made elsewhere, I mean, to have a historic guitar maker make these things. And the greatest part is he brought out all these old pictures that were in frames and stuff. All these old frame pictures of the shop, you know, in the shop. His first job was working for Leo Fender, right? And he shows me this picture, and it's him and Leo Fender in like the 60s, and he's standing out in front, him and Leo Fender and George Fullerton, and they're all standing in front of the thing, in front of the shop, and I was like, what? And Kenny, you know, who's like Mr. Miyagi age now, looked like he was like 25, and I was like, dude, and he's like, I have more pictures, and he goes back and he gets
Wasn't
them
he
out.
also like an aircraft mechanic?
He was an aircraft mechanic, he really was. Aircraft mechanic, and I wondered, and then I started looking, and he had these big propellers like laid across the floor next to the wall where all these crazy rock and roll guitar pictures are of all these guys were looking and just freaking out over all these pictures and people who've been and worked in the shop. And I look, and and then he has all these pictures in the same frame of him standing with Leo Fender and all these other guys of him standing in front of airplanes. And he said, I used to work, I was a pilot, I used to work on airplanes. And I was like, so you went from building airplanes to building guitars. Like, okay, that makes sense. I guess they're high performance, you know, performance. I did that. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so anybody get any new good? I used a plug-in this week that I got from IK Multimedia. The fine people at IK Multimedia, and Randy Fuchs, my man from Artist Relations, has hooked us up with a plug-in called Sample Tank. Has anybody used Sample Tank? I know it's been around for a long time.
We've got a question.
All right,
In
we
the
got
chat.
we got a question. Who's it from? Skateboarder W?
It's from Haku Records.
Hey man, you were on last week, and I appreciate you watching. Yes.
So, how do you deal with someone stealing your music?
Oh.
Someone recently re-released an album I made 10 years ago with different album art. Then recently, someone stole another song and raps over it.
Ah. So. Okay, I had one detailed question. You said stolen album. Read the first part of that question again.
Someone recently re-released an album I made 10 years ago with different album art.
Okay, so they re-released the actual recordings that you made, or they or they re-recorded your songs and released them? That's my only question. They just took the exact album you had recorded and just re-released it as is with different album art on it as their own? Is that what happened?
Oh, this is interesting. This is unrelated, but also from Haku Records. I grew up working on planes with my dad, and later in life I got into building my own guitars. A lot of the tools are the same. That's actually...
Really?
That's incredibly
That's
interesting.
crazy. Really. That's awesome. I bet a lot of the building concepts are kind of the same, too. That's pretty awesome.
And
That's
it
pretty
says
awesome.
They re-released the same songs, not covers.
Just completely ripped it off. Well, so my question is this. So that is completely 100% illegal. And
Yeah.
basically, if they made any money off that, you should sue them. If it's more money than you're hiring a lawyer would be. If it is not, and it's just one of those things where it's a vanity project, or they're just trying to tick you off, or get at you, or something like that, then I would draft a legal cease and desist letter. And I would mail it to them via certified mail. Certified mail is the only way to mail things to people where you know that they have to sign for it, they have to physically sign for the actual letter. And once they sign for it, that's proof that they received it. Whether they read it or not is on them, as long as they receive it and the certified letter and the certified mail signature says that they got that. So a cease and desist. C-E-A-S-E, like cease all operations, and desist. D-E-T-I-S-T, I think, maybe? No, D-E, God, I can't spell. D-E-S-I-S-T, yes? Desist? Yes, right? So, cease and desist, okay.
The amount of money seems to be the issue, but when I don't release it, how do you see the income? So basically, when someone else is releasing it, how do you know if they're making more money?
Oh, well, you'd have to find out how. I mean, that's on them. Whoa. Yes, Aiden takes it upon himself. That's right. Yeah. That's what I gotta say to people doing that to your music, man. No good. I like how they're hissing too. Yeah. So the only way to find out about that is to, again, a cease and desist basically just says stop, right? And finding out how, you would have to have some sort of legal ramification to be able to have access to any of their financial records if they did sell it. But for now,
They say, yeah, I've talked to a few, wow,
it's okay.
a few lawyers.
Okay,
Wow, that was a tough one.
that's a tough one. Few too many
Ooh.
W's. A few lawyers.
That one's tough. Wow.
A few
Oh, I hear a
lawyers.
train. I bet it picks up.
I hear a train too. Listen, see if
I
you
bet
guys
it
can
picks
hear it.
up
Can
on
you hear
mine.
it? Listen. I hear it coming by on the track. Can you guys hear that train? It's great to have a recording studio next to a train track. It only comes by like twice a day, so.
I've talked to a few lawyers, and the cease seems to be the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cease is the way. I'm good friends with a girl, a fine songwriter, and her name is Christy Jackson. And Christy had a big hit. Christy lives here in our fair town of Greensboro, and she is awesome. Christy had a big hit in the 90s with Reba McEntire. She wrote a song called Take It Back. And I remember that I actually work with a school called GTCC. I take their interns. My intern, Aiden, who set up this whole live stream tonight, set up half of it at least, gets all the tech end of it going, is from GTCC. And so they come in throughout the semester and they do their time here. And they get I think they have to get 160 hours in per semester. So they come in here and work and see all sorts of, stuff, different sessions and stuff. But I remember Christy was actually started the music business program years ago at GTCC. And I remember one of her, it was either one of her interns, either she told me this or it was either my intern, I had an intern the very first year that I was open in a former location from GTCC, and he ended up being an employee of Blackbird Studios years ago, which is crazy. But anyway, so he was telling me about, he said Christy has her interns literally scour the internet. The internet was fairly new back then too, like scouring it, right? Like Google wasn't as googly as it is now. So they would scour the internet for versions of Take It Back or recordings of it, and she would have them scour the internet and send out cease and desist letters all day.
Interesting.
About the usage of that song, or not the usage. So the deal is, if they took your recordings and they basically repackaged them and released them under their name or under different packaging and doing that, that's lawsuit material. But the first thing you have to let them do is know that you're serious, and a cease and desist letter can't take that much. A lot of these legal documents you can actually go online and get now. Like there's a company called LegalZoom, I think. You can do LegalZoom. You can go online and you can actually buy official documents that, and a lot of times they'll just need to be notarized, and there's not a lot of cost behind it. So I mean, if you really just want to get them to stop, a cease and desist you probably wouldn't even have to hire a lawyer for. But double check on that, just in case I'm wrong, because that is an issue of law, and I don't want to be right or wrong on an issue of law. I don't want to be wrong on one. So yeah, cease and desist would be the way to go about that. And
Haku Records has had some good luck with LegalZoom.
yeah, LegalZoom is cool, man. They're basically. Do you know who started LegalZoom? Are you ready for this? You have to. Here's your Jeopardy question of the day, and I don't know how I know this, but I do know this. LegalZoom was actually started by Robert Kardashian.
Huh.
Does everybody know the last name Kardashian? Probably not from Robert Kardashian. Robert Kardashian was the lawyer. He was the first lead lawyer on the O.J. Simpson trial. And I think that, I want to say he finished out, was it him and Johnny Cochran were the lawyers, I think? And I think after that, you'd have to look it up, but I think after that he retired from law. But Robert Kardashian actually founded LegalZoom. Yeah, and it's a company now, and you do all kinds of stuff like that. You can actually get documents to make people stop doing stuff.
I don't know.
Then I get a document, I'm going to send it to that raccoon that showed up in my neighbor's yard. Stop showing up in the yard and scaring us. Because he had distemper. Let me tell you about that. That was exciting. We got home on Sunday, and my neighbor called and said, I don't know if you're at home, but there's a raccoon in my yard. He said, there's something in my yard, I don't know if it's a raccoon or a possum. I haven't walked up close enough to see, because a lot of times, and he said, and he's just rolling around and he can't stand up. I was like, okay. So that was exciting, raccoons. But he never came in our yard, and then the next day, I think animal control had to come and get him. He had distemper. Or either he'd been out and had a really tight one on the night before, and was either hungover or something like that. Anyway, any more questions from us? There's one from somebody. What is that?
That's from Gavin, one of the Music Pro Juniors.
All right, Gavin. Woo. What's going
I'm
on?
putting him on the spot. It says, do I spy a Chase Bliss pedal on that there table?
Law, Jesus, you do.
And says, looks like a blooper if my eyes serve correct. That's a beautiful machine. Unfortunately, your eyes do not serve you correct.
They do not serve you correct.
I hate to say it.
And I'm so glad that you said something about pedals, because that's segueing us into playing a few pedals. Look at SG. SG is watching right there. He's watching this show right there. So, my buddy SG, who is now in the chat, it always says, so it says SG is watching. So SG and I go way back, because before I really started doing this, or really I guess around the same time I kind of started doing this and was starting out and had bought a Pro Tools rig and all that stuff. SG has that nickname. Do you know what SG stands for? It's probably like the G in Fred G. Sanford. It can probably stand for a lot of different things, and but I know what it truly stands for. Do you know what it stands for? Sound guy.
That's right.
That's right, because that's what he was. He was the sound guy. About half the gigs I would do, I would show up, and there was SG running sound, and I knew that the evening was taken care of. I was in good hands. It's good to see you, buddy. Virtually. You should come by. You should come by sometime and you know, and say hello. So Gavin, are you ready for us to play some pedals, some pedals?
We'll find out.
All right. So first pedal up. Who got the first pedal? You got the first one? You got the first one?
You can hit it.
I can hit the first one.
Go for it.
All right. So my first pedal tonight. My first pedal tonight is. Let's get camera down. Were we camera down that whole time, or did I just shift that over? I can't even remember. All right. So the Grand Magus is this big old box right here. Do you see how big this pedal is? See my hand?
Surprisingly, it's not incredibly heavy.
No, not incredibly heavy at all. Right. Sit on top of my hand.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Pretty big box, right? Kind of hear it on the table there. I want to say I paid maybe $30 for this pedal at the music go round because I want to know what's going on with TC Electronics. They make incredible stuff. And like I was telling you guys a couple of weeks ago, that TC Electronics was bought by the company that owns Behringer. So essentially, Behringer bought TC Electronics. And Behringer always got a bad rap for quite a long time. It was great gear when it first came out. And everybody was like, oh, Behringer, it's all German, you know, it's all German designed gear and everything. And it was, not really saying that it matters where the gear is designed or anything like that. But it was actually, I think it was German designed gear made in China. SG could probably tell you about those old Behringer compressors that we used to use live for lots of stuff. And so anyway, the TC Electronics Grand Magus is a recent release from them. But what they did was TC Electronics then bought. They used all of the circuits from Behringer because the Behringer pedals were actually pretty cool, although they were really inexpensive. Everybody thought of them as like cheap pedals. So what they did was they took them and they put them in these big old housings. So if you take a really small pedal, you know, that costs $29 and has kind of a bad rap for the company that makes it, and then you put a really great company's name on it, which you just bought, and then you house it in a much bigger housing, same circuitry as something else. Like I think you could go back and see that this Grand Magus distortion. But I'll tell you straight up, it's a great distortion pedal. 3 knobs, gain, volume, tone. Here's my, quote, clean tone. So my clean tone's got a little bit of breakup to it, maybe a little bit. So we'll just go everything at noon. Are we ready for the Grand Magus? Woo! Look out. Yeah, that's all right. So that's... So see a tone? Tone comes up, gets a little brighter. Woo! Wow. Alright, that's cool. Let's see where that clipping's coming from. Is it... Ooh.
why all the riffs I'm playing sound like 70s rock and roll riffs. I can't imagine that. Now let's go gain all the way up, shall we? Because you know. Oh, am I getting feedback out of a DI guitar? Come on, Grand Magus. Watch. I'm holding it up like there's a speaker
In
somewhere.
the cabinet.
Is it? Something's clipping hard. Still clipping. Is it clipping the input of that mic pre-Aiden? No? Not at all? Hold on a minute. Watch. It's probably, I'll tell you what it is. It's the pickups on this guitar. Oh. Ooh, I like that. That's one thing I like about this guitar. The bridge on it floats like the Steve Vai bridges, but it doesn't have a hole cut in it. It just rests on top of the body. And I swear to you, when you hit a harmonic and you do that like 80s like fluttery and you flick it like that, if you flick it really hard, the guitar vibrates so hard that it makes the note go away, like a fuzz pedal kind of choking out, like that.
But it comes back.
If you just let it go lightly, I always like that. Because you get kind of a note out of it. You get the wah, and then flutter stuff crapping out. Oh! Or other than that, you just hit it. And it just makes noise. So anyway. Yeah, all right. So that is the TC Electronics Grand Magus distortion. You
It
could probably
is
go get you
feedback.
one for 20 watch. Is it? Come on.
It
Come on,
was.
feedback, you rascal. Feedback, you rascal.
There you go.
Yeah, it's feedback and it's not even got a live speaker in it. Okay. All right. That is
We've
my first
got-
pedal. That is the Grand Magus TC Electronics distortion. Abraham
A
Johnson,
few
tell us what
comments.
you got.
Few comments.
Oh.
Haku Records wants to know what we're doing with the trusty machine. And that's where we're running all of our little
Sound bites
So-
that we like to have fun with.
Yeah. So the machine is a controller for the software that's in there on the computer. This is actually a standalone. This is a Machine Plus. So it will. Oh, sorry about making all the. Sorry about all the dust on here. The Machine Plus is a standalone unit that will also run as a controller for your Machine 2 software. Who is that?
I'm going to get to the comments in a second.
So anyway, so the Machine Plus is a standalone unit that'll run like an MPC, anything like that. And then the if you can see, there's banks here. You can't really see those banks. I can slide it up in the picture. Can I slide it up in the picture and get the whole thing in there? Why not? Right?
There you go.
Hey, now got a little light reflecting off of it, but who cares? So you see these banks down here. These are 8 banks, right? And then you got your 16 pads for each bank. So if you see we're on the orange bank now, that's got all of our like applause. Then it's got the boos. And then I've got them all labeled up here on the screen. I can read them. There's this ding bell. Oh wow! How can I have the failure horn and the ding bell?
Both of them.
That's when something really goes bad, right? And then,
Not until that heathen apologizes for
slamming the door in my face. That's right. So you get Aunt Esther. And these are all labeled. So these are basically our little sound effect things. I've got the song on here, right? If I hit this one that says Conversations in Groove Podcast theme song, that's the song that I did that basically we just use for starts it and ends it, right? So I just load the whole song in there, but then I can load individual samples. Like this whole yellow bank is nothing but Fred Sanford saying,
I'm proud of you, dummy.
oh my goodness,
You're a big dummy.
come on, one more.
Hit the door, dummy.
Cool, what, are you ready?
Shut up, dummy.
anyway, so that makes me laugh if it doesn't make anybody else in the whole entire world laugh. It's all about keeping yourself entertained, right? When you get to be, be to my age, you can do that. So, and then I've got a third bank that we never use over here, but we got this.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. Better, stronger, faster.
If you can tell me, oh, come on. You talk about a funky, really serious theme song. I mean,
Oh, I guess that's
not even.
Try to sure get into some tight spots.
Hong Kong food?
I guess I'm gonna try something a little less tricky. It's me,
the mighty Hong Kong.
Oh, it's more.
Gooey. So you got the
Yeah.
very seat.
Anyway, so that's what we use the machine for. Is to trigger a bunch of sounds that I was able to. Speaking of stealing people's music, we're not stealing it; we're just borrowing it. So those are samples, and I think that the length of them should keep me out of legal trouble. So, okay, are you
I
ready
had
for
another
a
comment from Gavin
Okay.
in regards to the Grand Magus. It says, good sounding analog distortion reminds me of the Proco Rat. Good clone for its price, no doubt.
No doubt at all, man. Because again, if you look it up, why don't you pull up the TC Electronics page? Drop that in the chat. And I don't want to give you any retailers. I mean, but they're going to tell you that you can go somewhere and you can buy it. But just grab one used, man. I mean, grab one off of Reverb. Grab one off of. You can go to Music Around. You can go to Guitar Center, honestly, online, and any of those. And I bet you could find that pedal for $29. I probably paid $29 for it. I thought TC Electronics pedal for $29, and it's distortion. It can't be that bad, right? And it's not. It's not bad at all. Great, awesome, awesome pedal. So, all right. What's your first pedal, Abraham?
Ooh, okay.
And what are you playing through? He's playing. I'm playing through the Sobtech, by the way, with the Aux, the Universal Audio Aux, which is right here. Yep, you can see it in the shot. And Abraham, if I go on this one, you
Can you
can
see
kind
it?
of see. You can kind of see
A little bit.
the Kemper Profiler amplifier up there. That will show you. It will basically. So funny story about the Kemper is that I had someone in this past week and they wanted she's doing a country song and she wanted a Shania Twain sounding guitar at the beginning of it, which if everybody knows that all those early Shania Twain records were produced by Mutt Lange, who did all those. He did Back in Black, greatest rock and roll album ever. He did all those Def Leppard records. So she wanted Shania Twain sounding guitars, which meant she wanted Def Leppard sounding guitars. So I paid $14, I think, for a pack, and I loaded it into the Kemper, and it has every Rockman in it because they used the Tom Schultz Rockman on all those Def Leppard records. All that clean sound with the chorus is the chorus off of a Rockman, which everybody remembers a Rockman. You know, they were about the size of a big old peanut butter sandwich, and you ran your guitar into them. They looked like a Walkman. It was the size of them, a little bit bigger than a Walkman. And that's what all those Def Leppard guitars were. So I was able to actually, and I felt kind of cheap and dirty, you know, because you got about a $3,000 machine over here, and I'm loading in something that I could probably buy off Reverb for $25. Those old Rockmans are probably expensive now, but somebody had modeled them in, and I loaded in probably, find out. How much are they?
$650.
$650. That's crazy. They got an original Rockman on there. They have lost their minds.
$300.
Oh, there's one for $300. Oh, that's the Rockman. So the original ones are $650. All right, never
These?
mind.
This one?
Yep, that's the Tom Schultz one right there.
Yep.
The X100.
There's
All
that
right.
one. Headphone amp.
Oh, okay.
$825.
I think we saw a lot of those at the guitar show a couple weeks ago. But anyway,
Did we really?
I used a $3,000 Kemper.
We did.
I used a $3,000 Kemper to load in a $50 direct amp. But good news is, it sounded just like a Def Leppard record as far as the guitar tone. So, all right, carry on. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
So I'm playing through one of the top Jimmy George Lynch model packs, I guess. I don't even remember. It just says 87 clean.
Yeah.
and it's not bad.
No, it's great, man. I think it's great.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Oh.
I hit my volume pot. Whoopsies. Anyways, so up first, if you'll hit the top down.
Top down.
We've got the old reliable Seymour Duncan pickup booster, our personal favorite boost pedal.
It says 25 at the top, but I don't know if that's 25 dB. It might be. It probably is.
It gets loud.
But it gets really loud.
Oh, it gets loud.
And the best part about the pickup booster is the switch.
Mm.
And you can see the switch on the side. There's a little teeny three-way toggle, like not a toggle, but a three-way like slider kind of switch. This thing, and it says 0, 1, and 2, and the 0 is the middle, and 1 and 2 I can't remember which is which, but 1 and 2. Hey, Danny Slaughter, how are you doing, man? Thank you for watching. And 1 and 2 is either for single coil or a humbucker.
I would assume.
Didn't we have another pedal this past week that did that had that selection on it? A single or a humbucker?
Maybe.
Oh no, I know what it was. The Keeley compressor. The Keeley compressor has the
yes.
same switch, single and humbucker. So this pickup booster actually has a 0, a 1, and a 2, and one of them I can.
I would presume that the 1 is the single coil.
Yeah.
I mean, you would.
So what it does is it makes your. I think it makes your. It sort of voices the boost for your pickup on your guitar. But the cool thing is if you have a single coil guitar running it on the humbucker setting, it's really beefy. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, go ahead.
So, I mean, it's really just a simple. I say simple boost, but. Ooh.
Come on.
Let's see. We go all the way down.
So all the way
Still
down
got
is still
some
a 5 dB boost.
It says 6.
Oh, I thought it said 5. Sorry, my eyes are bad because I'm old. Woo.
So if we go about noon, which is 16. Oh! Oh!
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, now.
If you're dynamic,
Yeah.
you can kind of control that.
Oh, that's so crazy. He's making it sound like a synth crapping out. Oh, what is that doing? Now do see the input light on the Kemper lighting up red when you do that. That's probably why it's doing that.
I would assume so.
Yep. So what that booster will do is it will just cram the front of your amplifier and make it do whatever it'll do. So if you got gain happening in it already,
Camera dropped.
then it's gonna give you some more gain. And if you have not so much gain happening, it's gonna really make your signal. Sorry about that, guys. I lost a camera.
Oh!
So basically, it's going to make that. Yeah. So if you so do this though. Switch over to a Kemper setting that has some distortion in it, and then watch what it does.
How much?
Well, I mean, just some distortion, like it sounds like that. That's the tricky part about the Kempers is
You
there.
know, I have my.
You got your go-to,
I have
right?
my one that I love, but that's quite a lot of distortion.
So let's see what it's got.
Oh, it's got effects.
Yeah. So that's your sound. So turn the gain down on that some. Well. Now see what it does.
Just turn it up more.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's that. That's that booster at about 16 or 17.
Let's go all the way. I don't know if I've ever turned this up all the way.
I don't think you've been able to.
We normally play it through real amps and it explodes.
Sounds amazing. Now turn it off while you keep playing. Yeah. All right.
Grabbing the edge of the fretboard.
All right. Yeah, so it's just. Yeah, so it's just killing the front of the amp. But it sounds great. Even running into a Kemper and making the digital front end clip a little bit, it sounds killer.
This is a neck pickup.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So it's a booster, but I'll tell you, to me, it's the best. It's
So what if we go?
It's the best booster because it's so simple.
Oh, it's already on 2.
I just put it on 2.
So that's on 0.
It sounds better on 0 to me. Yeah, I'm down with that.
That's 1.
That sounds good. Yeah, I don't know what the switch does, but anyway. All right. Okay. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, there it is.
I'd say that pedal is a winner. Woo! I can still hear it clipping somewhere. All right. Oh, you know what? I know where it's clipping. Golly. All right. All right. All right.
Let me switch back to my other preset while you.
Aiden, did we have another battery?
Oh, we are burning through them
We're
tonight.
burning through them?
Burning through them.
No, that one.
It's already
Huh?
It's already hooked up. It's already back on.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Huh. It says no video. Maybe, oh, you know what? Cable. It's the stupid cable again. Aiden's gonna fix that problem. He's gonna go get that cable. All right, so I am on to pedal number 2. Who was it that mentioned Chase Bliss?
That would be Gavin.
Gavin, are you still out there, my friend? Tell me if you're still out there. You just got to answer quickly yes in the chat. Just tell me if you're still out there, Gavin. Gavin, are you still there? Gavin. Gavin.
Come in.
Gavin. Gavin, come in. Gavin. Please signal back from your home planet. Let us know that you're still there. Because I cannot try this pedal without you letting me know that you're still there. Okay. So, but I will go ahead and I will start with it.
The next pedal I am playing tonight is
right here, and it is called the Generation Loss Mark II by Chase Bliss pedals. I think I have my big Chase Bliss thing up here on the. Let's set that. I'll put the box up there. I'll put the box up there like I have to advertise for them or something. I really don't have to do anything for them because I bought this pedal with my own monies. So I don't owe anyone anything. I don't really owe anything, anybody, anything, anyway. But, so the Generation Loss Mark II is going to go through. The best part about the Generation Loss is if you can see this, it comes with a field guide to Generation Loss Mark II. And it literally is like a field guide that you would find that you would get in
It's like a book.
Cub Scouts, like a little book. Got a hardback, got a little softback, hardback kind of cover on it, and you. Is it possible to have both of those, a softback and a hardback? Softback books. And then it has a getting started and a control and a wow and a flutter. This basically emulates tape failure, and it has a failure knob on it, and that is the best part about the whole pedal. So I'm going to turn this pedal on with everything at noon, and I have no idea what is going on, but I'm just going to play a chord, and I'm going to let you hear the Generation Loss. So I'm trying not to touch the whammy on the guitar. Ah, so right, you remember the old VCRs?
Oh.
Oh, amazing. Hey, Brian Thomas. Hey, Gary Hawkins. What's going on, man? Woo! So the best part about the Generation Loss is it'll sound like that on guitar when you run it through your guitar amp, but it has a stereo in and an out on it, right? It has in, which is labeled stereo, and it has out, which is labeled stereo. So you basically get your Y cable, your 1/4-inch stereo cable that goes out to 2 monos, and then you can feed anything into it. We could take this machine here and
I've been dying to do that.
feed that. Yep, well, I'll bring it home.
Run drum loops through the Generation Loss.
Run drum loops, yep, through the Generation Loss, and then basically, so everything through it, right?
I mean, how do you even design that? I don't understand.
I'm not touching a whammy bar or anything.
it's just an amazing sounding pedal, right? Keeps cutting in and out. That's the best part, right? There's a million best parts. So here's the second best part.
Here, wait.
Oh,
Oops.
hey, wait! I didn't do anything bad. Come on, man.
Top down.
All right, sorry. Here's the
Top down. So there's a switch on the left, and it's the what's it saying? Aux
It
switch?
should be aux.
It's called the
Not
aux switch.
mistaken.
Depending on where you have some of these toggles set, the aux switch will do its thing. But this is the best thing that it does is when you hold it down and you press it. When you hold a
And
chord
it's
down
on this
and you press it, and it's
toggle,
on that
far
toggle.
left. Yep.
Far left toggle says.
We'll
Okay.
explain that.
Okay. All right. I'm ready. Here you go. Yes. Again.
Hit a chord.
Yes. So there's a toggle right here on the left for that says aux, and it says, if I can read it, it says stop. I can't even read what the middle one says, Abraham. Stop.
filter and fail.
Oh, stop, filter, and fail. So basically, this aux switch is momentary. In other words, when you press down or step down on it,
Isn't it? Can't you set it to where like if you hit it, it's so like
wow, do that
play
again.
chord.
Okay, so unbelievable. But you can hold it down.
But you can hold it down.
So if you're doing movie soundtrack, TV stuff, stuff like that, and you need some really trippy sounding guitars, this Generation Loss is cool. That's just everything at noon. So what it'll do is it goes through a million different, I say a million, I think it's really got 16 different tape emulations. And tape emulations, like most of the time when you get into tape emulations, you get into the fact that you're trying to make your digital recording sound warm and punchy and all that stuff that they sell you tape stuff for. This model knob, this basically wants it to sound like tape that's been chewed up by your VCR or chewed up by your old cassette player. Or, does anybody remember the Fisher-Price tape recorders that they made for kids? It actually models this thing too. So C says model, and it says your C knob steps through a library of tape machine models, each with its own unique EQ profile, VCRs, cassette decks, camcorders, and more, each one designed through frequency analysis of physical hardware. Pretty unbelievable. And then they actually have a guy in this field manual that I'm flipping through. They actually have a they actually have, here it is, for your 16 models. When you're in off, it's nothing. When you're in 1 is a CPR 3300 Generation 1 type VHS. Number 2 is a CPR 3300 Generation 2 type VHS. 3 is a Generation 3 type VHS. And then number 4 is a Portamax RT type cassette. Like a 4-track Porta Studio Tascam. It'll sound like that. It'll also sound like a desktop style Porta Studio playback at half speed, a cassette recorder, a dictation cassette recorder, the small ones, a Dictatron handheld voice recorder sampled using the built-in speaker and the internal mic. Then they do the Fishy 60, which is the toy recorder. It was the Fisher-Price. The Miss Walker, which is the MS Walker, which was the Walkman. And then the MU2, designed by Amulet. Imaginary model. Imaginary model based on deteriorated tape and barely functioning recorder, and a reel-to-reel using old brittle tape. So as you switch through these, I'm just going to go ahead and turn the knob, the type knob, the model knob, and I'll play another chord. So... oh, it's amazing. And there is a knob called failure. And you just turn the failure knob all the way up. It will literally... So basically I could sit here, and it also has about 8 dip switches. Oh, sorry, I lied. 14 dip switches on the back. Wow, 16 dip switches on the back. And I don't even know what the dip switches do because there's so many knobs on the front. But I will tell you, if the price is based on a knob per dollar basis and a switch per dollar basis, you're getting your money's worth. Yeah, that's the only reason. That's the way that I can actually justify it, because there's so many knobs on it and so many functions. So that is the Generation Loss Mark II by Chase Bliss. Did we put that in the chat?
We sure can.
Are there people watching? Is anybody listening and watching? Are we down? Are we at 8:19? Are we boring everybody already? Already at 8:19 that we've been on 1 hour and 20 minutes? So Abraham's going to put the Generation Loss Mark II in the chat for you, the link for it in the chat to check out. All right. Here we go.
Abraham's pedal number 2.
All right, so we've got the Morley, Mr. Scary, George Lynch signature wah pedal. It's a little mini version.
All right,
you
let's
know.
get a top.
Down and look at that. You got to see the graphic on it, though. The graphic is worth the price of admission alone.
And not only that,
Can everybody see that?
but it glows in the dark.
Yes, it does. If I could turn out all the lights, you'd see it glow in the dark. But I won't turn out all the lights because I'm old and I can't
And
see.
not only that, it's limited edition.
Yes, it is.
I believe it was a Halloween type
I think they made about 200 of them or something like that. So
around Halloween time. So you've got your typical Morley switchless wah. You don't have to click it down on the front. It's automatic when you hit it. So
yeah, if you can see, do it from that side. Yes, SG, you do need a new pedal. What kind of pedal do you want, man? So do it with your hand from that side so they can
Like
see
that?
the light. No, so they can see the light turn on because your
Gotcha.
hand blocks it right there. Yeah. So check this out, everybody. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Let me work it for you?
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, now.
But in addition to that, you've got two good knobs, I might add.
You got knobs?
Properly labeled. You've got Scream and Slice.
Is it really labeled Scream and Slice?
Oh yeah.
How did I not know that?
And the thing is, ooh, there we go. So that's the Scream knob all the way down. It's not as harsh of that
Yeah, it just sounds like a...
top end,
Yeah.
but you go all the way up.
Ah.
That's where you get that crazy
Oh, what was that?
evil.
Yeah, now.
But the slice knob comes into play when you activate the execute button. And that's always, that's always a good button to have on board.
An execute button's always good. So we've got Scream, Slice, and Execute.
So you hit the
I'm
execute
catching
button.
I'm catching a theme here.
You hit the execute button
Oh, okay.
and
So
you get your fixed position. Wow.
yeah. Woo! Come on. Yeah, now.
And with the slice knob, you choose what position you're fixed at.
Oh, that sounds good. So if you turn that down, all right. So there was a guy. So that's the slice knob.
Yeah.
And when you the engage knob.
Execute knob.
So wait a minute.
Hold on.
So the execute knob and the slice knob work with the switch?
So the execute switch.
The execute switch.
So you hit the execute switch and the scream knob becomes a boost.
Oh, I had no idea. How do I not have one of these?
So scream all the way up, slice all the way down.
I'm down with that.
That's no switch pressed.
Okay.
And when you press this button, it bypasses
Oh, bypasses the wah-wah.
the rocker.
So it's like It's sort of like 2 pedals in one. You can have all that stuff set for the switch and then turn the switch off. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Woo. So that's the Mr. Scary Morley wah-wah. That's a glorious sound of wah pedal too. So that what is this switch over here called again?
Slice.
Slice. So the slice switch, where you get your fixed wah position, is like a Michael Schenker thing. If anybody out there remembers a guitar player named Michael Schenker, that was his thing. And the guys from Striper used to kind of do that too. Can I get a little love for the Striper guitar players in the house tonight? Come on. Those guys used to do that a whole lot, and they get this mid-range kind of thing, right? But you used to have to turn on the Crybaby wah and get it to a certain position and just leave it there and not touch it. And this lets you do that without having to turn on the wah and switch the pedal to another position. That's great. That part has like a Hendrixy kind of thing to it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm down. That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right, that's
Hey,
Abraham's.
is the stream using the camera microphone?
Who's son of a friggin' gun?
There you go.
The whole time. Who asked that?
Aiden.
Aiden. Jeez, man. What, I've been on an hour and a half on those mics? It's been okay, though, right? Oh, Lord, help us. Dang it. Sorry, guys. You've been here in the whole room the whole time. Thank you very much. Operator error from the guy who runs the recording studio with all 3 of the camera mics on. I should probably start this show a little bit earlier so I can actually figure out all this stuff. So sorry it sounds so roomy the whole time. Hey, it sounds great. Stick around, kids. We'll keep going. Let's just redo that whole hour and a half. Should we just back up and redo that whole hour and a half? My guitar's still clipping, but it's not. It's the pickups. It's not anything. All right, I got one more pedal, and then we're gonna go home. My third pedal choice tonight. I don't think I've played this one. Abraham may have played it before, but it is by Robert Keeley and is right here in my hand, and it is called the 30 millisecond double tracker. Ooh. Don't know if anybody can see this pedal, but when you buy it because you think it's going to make you sound like 2 people playing guitar at the same time. It kind of is the purpose. It kind of does. But it has 3 switches. It's got a little mini toggle here in the middle. The mini toggle goes from Dimension at the top. And the second one is Abbey Road, or Abbey Mode. Abbey Mode. That's pretty good. I like that. And the third one is Slapback. So the Dimension is, if most of the time these pedals, if you are kind of like, if you're kind of not necessarily new to the pedal world, but if you're young and you're not old like me and you haven't been watching guitar pedals and playing around with them forever, the Dimension, when these newer guitar pedals are designed, a lot of times they're designed to be sort of a mock-up or a recreation or celebration of an original pedal that they don't make anymore. So there's a Boss pedal called a Dimension C Chorus, which I think they actually just re-released last year. And it was a big thing. Like, you know, pedals will be like, guys will buy them, you know, and pedal companies, they'll issue pedals and then they'll be like, oh, and then they take them away after a year or two. Either they don't sell well or they just go, it's going to be, now they do it because it's a limited release and the value of the pedal is going to go up, which is okay. I'm down with that. It's like buying stocks. If stocks were fun to buy, or if you could play guitar through a stock, you know. But anyway, so this is called the 30 millisecond double tracker, and the very first thing says Dimension, and I'm thinking when I hit this chord, it is going to emulate a Boss Dimension C. Yes, chorus pedal. That's the dimension setting, right? That's level. And the cool thing is, even though it's doing a Dimension C thing, it's got your time, so it'll go really fast.
It's got like, doesn't it have reverb in it?
It has a reverb knob. I'm just looking at it. I'll turn it all the way down. You ready?
No, I like the reverb.
Here's your chorus, just your plain chorus. So you can hear the time on it, right? Ooh. Not bad. And what's this other knob? So it has a reverb, level, time, and tuning. So you make it detune, right? Beautiful chorus pedal. So then we dial some verb back in. Let's see what the reverb's like. Yeah, that's not bad. That's great sounding right there. I'm gonna turn the verb all the way up. Yeah, let's go down a step. Back up a step. You ready?
Oh, back down.
So that's the verb all the way up. Listen to that.
Wow.
Oh, I like it. So now we'll go to the middle position, which says Abbey mode. Verb all the way down.
Yep.
I think it's like a Leslie. Is it? Maybe? See what the time does all the way up. Oh. That's faster. I want to get slower.
I think that really is going for the double track thing.
Cool thing about this pedal is it comes with a Y cable that's actually a stereo splitter. It'll come out of your output. So you can go to a stereo amp setup. If you have 2 amps or 2 inputs on your DAW, you can go in and it'll track one with the wet signal and I think one with the dry. So it really does make it, whoa, sound like 2 guitars. It is 2 guitars, but it makes it sound like 2 guitars delayed. Let's go down to the very bottom setting on this one called the slapback. Seems like a pretty simple term. Let's see if it will actually do a little slapback. Oh, hey, I dig that. Let's turn the reverb all the way down. Sorry about that.
That's like a true slapback.
Yeah.
Here, are you ready?
That is my third pedal. Grand Magus.
Hey, no.
Grand Magus and, uh-oh. What happened? Everything froze because camera battery went out, but it's all right because we're almost done. So, that is my Grand Magus and my 30 millisecond Robert Keeley 30 millisecond double tracker. Those guys cram so much stuff in one pedal. Go get you one if you get a chance because they're really good. Abraham's got one more pedal to play tonight.
I say
you want to wait?
we save this one for the showcase slot.
Showcase slot next week, maybe?
Whenever it may be.
Whenever it may be. All right.
Whenever it may be, and I say we
go home and get some dinner.
Jam it out.
We're going to jam it out? All right, here we go.
I'll put on slice mode.
Slice mode.
I said we jam it out on the song.
Yeah, let's jam it out. All right. I'm going to play out on the song. Thank y'all again so much for watching us just sit around and act stupid for an hour and a half and play guitar pedals and all that good stuff. So thank y'all on all the formats for watching. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, and I don't even say the stuff I'm supposed to say. Like, if you're watching, please subscribe, join, do all that stuff. Like it, share it. The YouTube, any last comments? Okay, so we're out. We appreciate you guys. Thank you again so much. We're out. We will see you. We will see you in some way, shape, or form. Maybe next week we're just going to sit around and talk. How about we do that? Next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. We'll figure it out. I might be cooking out by a grill with my iPad or something. Maybe. So I'll let you know. You guys just keep an eye. If we decide to take a week off next week, we'll let you know. If not, we'll definitely be back the next week. So we'll see you guys. Peace.